right there.
Just worn a little bit more smooth in that line straight down.
Yeah, and at times it's at different times of light and different times of year, you know, different times of day, different times of year. You get
You can see the worn limestone.
that you can see it a little bit better, but basically, if we look at this lip right here as an example, you've got two, what could be wagon wheels or ruts coming right here, and then right down to where these people are coming up, right here. And so, as I said, we're getting down to an area where three routes of the trail are coming together right here at the lower Swales crossing. This is likely the prime one, I would think, from what I understand. And then if you look what we're walking up to, you can see this little lip or ridge on that's coming out to our left-hand side. And it's coming up right where these marks, these indentions are. So you've got a second route coming in right here, following this lip we're about to walk over.
Okay, a second route of the trail went across here.
That informs us about the trail being here. Al McGraw, who was the lead author of the Tejas study on the Camino, which was done in 1991, in talking with him over the years, he conveyed to me that his understanding of the trail had evolved, and he's the one who actually told me about the three routes coming together down here. And so this lip right here that those people were just walking over and that we're walking up to, this is the second route coming in right here.
That's from the upper falls.
The others were the upper falls. And so you see that limestone slab over across the creek. So this is the mouth of Williamson Creek.
It's hard to see, it's behind these trees right
We can keep walking up a little bit. But so the third route.
You can see the worn limestone there. It's clearly worn. Almost looks like two ruts.
They're all converging to go where the McKinney home is. And Brian and I have done a lot of this. We're not going to do this today, but where the homestead is, and walk back down this way. There's a massive swale right here on the other side, probably what, 10 or 12 feet deep, Brian, I would say. And it's right there. And it shows up on old maps too. The one that Ron Ralph did, the archaeological survey, his study shows that road coming up towards the McKinney homestead as well.
So the trail's trying to cross between the falls and the mouth of the other creek. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't have to cross two creeks. There's just one.
Exactly. It consolidates.
And then you have the. So this was the bottleneck right here.
Right. So that's Williamson Creek right over there, and
Okay.
also very commonly right below or above the confluence of two creeks, there's an abundance of gravel and stuff like that. That's this particularly is a place that
There was two roads, two caminos that met right there, right below that lip, and right where you see the worn limestone.
bad rain, the creeks that you pass going from Manchac Springs to here are
That's Lower
far
Falls.
smaller and far fewer. On the other side, there's the big drainage is coming from the hill country down. So that's, you know, if you were coming up from south and Onion Creek is flooded, you would have to keep going as long as you possibly can before then you have to cross it at some point. And this happens also to be the point where Onion Creek is heading northeast and it takes a jag to the east here. So if you want to keep heading northeast, this is in all ways that's the most convenient place to cross.
And for those
Just
of
a
you
minute.
who were on the walk earlier, just like we would, did y'all go down to the bridge later on, Tom? You did. Yeah. So a shallow rocky crossing, it's the same thing as we saw upstream at the Estancia property. We get these shallow rocky crossings where they can cross these creeks really easily. So that's why with the historic trails, they really funnel down at these river crossings because there's only certain places you can cross. Right there, right on the other side of where that girl is sitting, that creek is probably 15, 20 feet deep, that small canyon of the creek being carved, so you can't cross for, you know, a few miles really, or wherever as far as the upper crossing is, I guess. If y'all ever get the opportunity to come back, I would highly recommend going across and looking around the McKinney homestead. There are a lot of swales around the homestead going back that way, and up the ridge towards essentially where the Texas Parks headquarters are. Any questions, Brian? You want to say anything else about it? Or?
Well, just that in looking at all the possible famous historical crossing points of the Colorado River from here, we have found swales, like there are any number of swales, and it's hard to tell when they all came from, but we have found swales that basically point, some of them are more pointing towards the Montopolis Bridge that way, and some of them point a little bit slightly to the east of that, and there are, you know, crossings that are supposed to be a little bit to the east of the Montopolis Bridge within that big curve in the Colorado River. So to me, that's an interesting thing, that there are definitely places where there are swales coming out of the park pointing specifically in the directions where some of the crossings are. So the evidence is, I mean, there's lots of, especially off the trails where you're not supposed to be hiking, there are quite a number of very, very deep swales that line up very, very well with the most traditional views of where the Camino went. So that's exciting.
And we should say we don't encourage off-trail hiking. We get to do it with permission of the park because we're out here researching and we're bushwhacking around looking for it. Generally, we encourage people to stay on trail so that there's not a lot of, you know, unnecessary paths being created like that.
Don't make new swales.
So it's almost 11:30, believe it or not. So let's, if we can, unless anyone has